Oh, hey, didn't see you there. In today's video, the KickCharge team met with business owners at Home Service Freedom to discuss and critique their brands. We offered some advice and shared a little bit of knowledge on what makes a great brand and how we could help them achieve that. I hope you enjoy the video.
The other thing we're going to ask is to be open-minded, because while you, and I like, the King idea is great, right? Because you think of a dynasty and everything.
Yeah.
But what I will say is the illustrators, our brand designers, are the best at what they do. They may have an idea you haven't even thought of, that then you'd be like, oh. Because a big part of how we operate is we're going to do research into your space. And we're going to go, what can stand out there? What's the best color palette? What's going to be the best theme? What's going to work best for them?
Yeah. So you work mostly with homeowners directly?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Usually those are the instances when the animal mascots work the best. Working with homeowners, it makes people feel at ease, especially how much like you'll be working in their home. So I can show you another example, like their heating and air, but the things that they're doing now with this macaw in the community is crazy. Like everything, parade, floats, everything. So it really makes it easy to kind of be involved in the local community, whether it's stuffed animals and stuff like that. So for a residential market, animal mascots really work.
Honestly, I feel like when we see that or hear the most success is when companies really play into it.
Yeah.
Like really just go all in on the animal and play into it, and it's so fun. Like they have so much fun with it.
The problem with it is it's so hard to own, right? So you have a symbol that feels like it's generic, feels like it's clip art. If you Google, home remodelers logos or contracting logos, you're going to see like 1,000 that look very similar to that. So that's the part that feels challenging. Like when we did Garage Door Doctor, we did one that was more using a mascot, and he was the doctor. And then we did one that was a more serious approach that's more similar to what you have currently. So two different approaches, both companies doing extremely well.
But Base Camp, Alpine Summit, like we have these packages, and then we have like these all like kind of cute logos that go along with some of the systems, some of the icons.
When you see the icons for your different service plans and things like that, they shouldn't be better than the logo itself.
But if you're trying to trademark the logo after that, there's ownership issues.
You own the logo. Whatever you do with KickCharge, you own it 100%, and everything we do is custom. Within our terms and conditions, it's saying it's an original artwork piece that you own. You own it 100%. So we will beg you to get it trademarked.
I would probably want to introduce a second color to your palette, assuming we're going to keep that teal. Like it feels blue here and it feels teal there.
Well, it's actually, the colors are actually like navy and like the light blue.
Like this light blue here.
So it's like our shirts, nothing's real, it's not like cohesive.
But before I would even say that those are the colors that I think you should use, or whatever colors they may be, I would want to know what other companies do you compete against, what other big players are in your market, and what are the color schemes that they use. Because if you're in a market that has a ton of the same colors, then I don't want you to be another one among them. I want you to be a very different color scheme.
Yeah.
You can see it. You might register for a second. Even the bands, if you have them wrapped, if you have the colors kind of broke, it's gonna catch attention for a moment, but it's probably not gonna stick in the mind of someone that doesn't need you right away.
Right.
So unless they happen to be seeking the blue thing right away, then you're probably losing that impression.
So is that name good for like? I mean, it's not like everyone can just Honeydews is like McCawsome seems a little longer. I guess if they have problems with that, they probably would tell you guys, but like, is that, macaw, I guess it's easy to spell, but maybe I wouldn't know how to spell that right off the bat.
You name them, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
so it really depends on what your, priority is. So in their case, the owner was from Honduras, so he really wanted to kind of go back to his roots to the brand. So that's what's inspired that.
And that plays into the brand story, right?
Yes, exactly. So it all ties back. It builds everything up. It's great for trademark purposes too. It's something you can really own, more of a made-up word, but something that's when people hear it, they still know what it means. Like you're playing with the word awesome.
Right. So the brand story, coming up with a brand story, I don't really know what my brand story would be, if I'm being honest. I moved my grandma one time, and that didn't get me into moving, but I was thinking maybe that could be a part of the brand story. But for me, it was just like I needed to pay rent, so I started moving. Like that's just how it started.
Yeah. Most people come to us with a foundation, and then we add color. Not that we like embellish anything, obviously, but it's like building it up, making it more emotional. Like in their case, like going back to his roots, talking about stuff like that.
It's a great idea. It's just, did you see the face on the?
Yeah.
He just looks maniacal. And it's immediately, subconsciously, people are going to go, he's going to screw me over. It's like the subtleties of the things like the eyebrows and it almost, or the way his arms are, it just makes him seem so domineering.
Yeah.
Whereas
Coming
it's like the polish that they're able to put on something when they're like, okay, well, I'm going to take that idea and create that it looks prestigious. It looks like it has a great sense of knowledge. It's really responsible, but also friendly. And they can, everything from the eyes to the shapes of the face, all those details, coupled with the right colors and typography. Yeah. One of our biggest pet peeves is when you see a mascot that's got like the giant, like it's almost like they're going to come at you.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're always thinking about Mrs. Jones as the customer. And Mrs. Jones doesn't love those scary superheroes. The idea here is any male who sees this wants to have a beer with him.
Yeah.
And females are like, oh, he looks sweet.
Yeah.
So he's charming. So it's every detail we fuss over.
You know, those are the downsides. What you have though, as far as positive, okay, so you go back to what you have right now. It's legible. I can understand it. I don't have an issue trying to figure out what you really do. The word solutions tends to be superfluous, meaning it doesn't add value. Of course, you do something that provides those services. So typically we would probably say, if we call them the clarifiers, which are the words beneath your primary branding, we would say storage and flooring, period. Like I don't need to say the word solutions. It's obvious you're providing solutions. And plus, in doing so, I could make the lettering for storage and flooring larger. And I do think the idea of what you have about, you said something for life, what was it?
Organized for life.
Organized for life is actually pretty cool. I like that. So I think that tagline works.
When you think of what makes you better than your competitors, if you forget that for a second, shake it off, look at your logo and go, somebody who's never heard of you before, and they see it, would they know those things about your company? And if they don't, then you know your logo needs to evolve to something that does.
This guy also started because of his grandma. So we just went with that route. He played into it. You don't have to do that. You could always just loop it into the story in other ways.
My grandma would not want to be on the side.
Oh, my grandma would love it. So what were some of the names you came up with?
One of them was that I really liked. It's got nothing in. Y'all are probably going to shoot this down quick, but Moondog. Ugh. I don't even want to read some of these out.
We're not going to judge. It's okay.
Okay. Wise moving and storage. Maybe an owl.
Okay. Have you ever heard of just moving companies, Piece of Cake? I've seen them in New York. Yeah.
Cake.
Like stuff like that.
Pink trucks.
Yep, something like that is not necessarily related to moving, but like conveys that positive,
And it's like moving was a piece of cake with them or whatever.
Exactly.
It leads them into that review, I guess.
So it's always fun to play off words like that. We have a company in Ohio and they're Sweet Life Heating and Air, and it's an ice cream shake, but it's like we're giving the Sweet Life.
Yeah.
Or even if you wanted to go like the wise route, adding another word helps.
Yeah.
Like just wise would be too, or something like that's not. Moving and storage would always be underneath the logo, but like something like smart wise, like adding another word that's not a clarifier of what you do makes it more ownable. So that's why a lot of times our names are like over the moon, like more than one word.
Like if we were doing a premium high-end cabinet or kitchen renovation company, I'm probably not going to do a mascot-based design for that because it just tends to not feel as premium as we would like it to. So those are things like that feels very premium, right? That feels like I'm going to spend a lot of money on my garage door with this company. Those are the
Tommy. This is red. Red and
Tommy's is red, ivory, and brown. It used to be red and black. So when I rebranded him, I said we're getting rid of the black because it's a very aggressive and not premium feeling. It also doesn't appeal to women. So we went with the brown and the ivory, and we just tend to, that's another one that has a very premium aesthetic to it.
I tell my wife that I'm always selling to the wife, even though I almost rarely meet the wife.
It's so true. We don't talk enough when we're talking about marketing about how people subconsciously process your brand when they're just glancing at it. And that's why things like the facial features are so important, because somebody might just engage with that for a moment and subconsciously that brain's cataloging what it's seen, and if it for a second sees that as maniacal, it's done.
I know.
And that is a huge. So when we were talking about like waiting or what am I losing, it's like for every person that engages with that king, if they just file it away as I had an adverse, they might not even know why they would want to hire you. They just know that they immediately had this like adverse psychological reaction.
When they say like P&S mechanical or whatever, it's like the mechanics of what or something.
Yeah.
Or home services. Was
we always try to steer people away from home services, mechanical. It's too general. It's just what.
But moving and storage is good, right?
Clear.
Clear. It's exactly what you're doing. So
and involving that yellow too, it's like an accent color.
Yeah.
That's a big difference in like just the feeling of it when you showed me that versus this. Like I feel like that adds another layer of I don't know, memorability, recognition to the entire visual.
Like take the model, plumbing,
Yep.
HVAC.
Yep.
The technician is able to show up, fix the problem, and move on. Which roofing, very few and far between.
Right.
How would you like envision incorporating that strategy?
That promise isn't really reflected in either north or face. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's whenever that happens, when there's like a disconnect between the words, we have to rely on the visuals. But there's things that can be there, right? So it's either the icon, maybe an icon that's in motion that incorporates something that has to do with timeliness, right? Or speed. And then I think a tagline would be very important.
Because service from the ground up.
That doesn't really, that's not, I'm going to be there today. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be about, how when you need us, we're here. Something, you know what I mean? That's going to speak to that timeliness, like the urgency effect.
Instruction to speedy roofer.
Well, you know what? Well, and you don't want to say like that because then we also, here's the thing, because we don't want them to think that it's going to be shoddy work. Because that's a tricky thing when you think of speed, because we also don't want people to think, we want them to understand that in this particular instance, you can have fast and good, which is rare.
So those are all conversations that we would have though. Like if you're more interested in that type of vibe, that's part of the process that we use where we have you fill out our creative brief. It's a questionnaire that we run through and then we figure out, okay, based on this, these are the types of brands that you connect with, that you think best represent the company. And then we'll have a discussion about it, and we'll make sure that we're all in alignment on what the vibe is going to be. And then typically we present the options back to you on the actual truck. So you say, I know you said you have some older trucks, right? But if you got a newer truck that you're going to keep for a while, we would do the logo concepts and show you how it will live on that actual truck. Like I think you're good with the tagline. You don't need a tagline. I don't think you need to change the name of the company. I think the name is fine. I think it's actually a really good name. Is it trademarked? Do you have a trademark? No. I would get it trademarked.
Yeah.
So I think it says a lot with few words, and those have a lot of value. It's not your last name, which would be a huge detriment. It's not initials.
Yeah, I will tell you, because I know you guys brainstormed a lot of names, I feel like sometimes it's hard to picture what that's going to look like when it's just words on a paper, and some people get really hung up on that, but you kind of have to try and think outside the box that it's going to come to life. Like the visuals will come with it. But the nice thing that we do when we have our naming presentations, when we give you the names that we come up with, is we have one of our illustrators with us, and they can kind of talk you through what that potentially looks like. Doesn't mean you're locked into that idea, it's just they can give you an idea of a visual.
And by the way, we're already sold on your services, so I know we're just having a chat.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
It's just really which package we want to pick.
Yeah.